Black Avenger and all. All like WrestleMania. If the two were to ever cross paths yet again, it sure would be a spectacle to behold.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. You've been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor. And buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind.
This place needs change, and I am that change.
You want my attention? You got it!
Obviously, beating me means that much in your world.
You want me at WrestleMania? No problem.
I'm gonna take away the one thing that matters to you.
You just pissed me off.
The biggest match in WWE history.
I have all the motivation
Right here!
And now,
ladies and gentlemen, to quote the world-famous 3-time Royal Rumble winner and 16-time world champion and WrestleMania main eventer, the time is indeed now. Hello and welcome to episode 120 of the TEW 288 Challenge Run. We are here, Sunday, week 4, March 2021, the second night of WrestleMania 37, and the official season finale. I realised that I said Season 1 ended at SummerSlam, and this will technically be the ending of Season 2, but it's the whole first year as one big season, so consider SummerSlam a mid-season finale. And, yeah. So this is the true end of everything we've done so far. If you missed last night's Night 1, that's up already. The spoilers are on the screen, so just don't look at them if you haven't seen it yet, but I'm not going to cover them up, because I'm assuming most of you already have. And let's get the final episode of this season underway. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into the show. Pre-show match. 73 rated match, Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. Goes 10 minutes and 8 seconds. Big hoss fight, Braun doing about as well as he can, because he's Braun Strowman. And Lashley being a beast, because he's actually good at doing the shit that Braun Strowman tries to do. And yeah, without much surprise to anybody, Bobby Lashley picked up the win here. 10 minutes and 8 seconds with a spear. 73 for Braun, 80 for Lashley. I believe this probably was been the most predictable match on the card. I've made my disdain for Braun perfectly kind of clear in the last couple of months in game after he lost the Universal title, which I had him do a run with, because if I'm going to start the save and he's the champion, I may as well actually treat him like the champion for a while. But his trajectory is very much of the downwards progression, while Bobby Lashley's is on the rise. And only one of these is going to have a big time Season 3 ahead of them, unless I can think of something interesting for Braun to do, which I probably won't, because he's been stale as fuck for like 3 years. Kathy Cool Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. America the Beautiful, sang by the beautiful and cool Kathy Cool. She went to 35. I can't remember what she got yesterday, but I don't know if this is an improvement or not. But she's still going at it in front of 58,258 people. I've actually put it in Los Angeles, California this time, so yeah. Show intro, which again you've already seen. Again, I'm going to cover the matches that I covered in the actual video. John Cena, Randy Orton, Io and Sonya, Ali and Triple H, and Edge and Kev. Sick intro. But this time, the first people we see on the show are these queens. And they're here because they're hosting Night 2 of WrestleMania, like The Miz and Morrison technically hosted Night 1. And Mackie's like, welcome to WrestleMania. And they go, yeah. Now, this is going to be, Miz said last night it was the most must-see WrestleMania of all time. This is going to be the cutest WrestleMania of all time. It's hosted by the cutest band in all of the world, J-Flow. Then awesome. Booze as the Miz and Morrison interrupt J-Flow. And they're like, no. See, Miz has his 24/7 championship over his shoulder. And he's like, we had the most must-see WrestleMania of all time planned, but you kept ruining it. So you really think that you're going to be out here and you're going to be a better host than us? And Mackie's in there. She's like, I say dressed like, they're dressed like wrestlers, but they're like wearing merchandise, I guess. Like, Mackie's wearing like some Rock merchandise or Stone Cold or whatever. No, she's wearing Stone Cold merchandise. Mina's wearing like Shawn Michaels merch. Marika's wearing Hulk Hogan merch. Bret Hart merch for Mizuki, and Tam's wearing the Rock's merch and shit like that, because they're getting in the WrestleMania mood. And, you know, channel the legends. And Mrs. points out, it's like, look at you, you've come out here preparing to meet all these legends, but, well, we didn't need those on night one because we were hosting, and you're so incompetent at being WrestleMania hosts that you couldn't get these people here because they don't want to come here and be on your night. They wanted to be with me. You couldn't get The Rock because The Rock's busy in Hollywood. I know we're in Hollywood, but The Rock's not here. You have to deal with me. I'm the most must-see A-list celebrity here tonight.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
But The Rock is here. And the crowd erupts. If you smell echoes around the arena. And he does the thing where he shakes his arms around on the stage and he points at his goosebumps on the camera. As he heads to the ring, J-Flow evacuate the ring, and the Miz and Morrison stand in there as The Rock comes into the ring. And he talks about how finally The Rock has come back to WrestleMania. And how it couldn't be Hollywood WrestleMania without the most electrifying man in all of sports entertainment. And Miz, he's of course not happy, and he gets in the face of The Rock. He says, you're just a wannabe Mike Mizanin. I'm the true Hollywood A-lister here. And of course end with Miz and Morrison getting beat up, laid out with rock bottoms. But the Miz would take the full people's elbow. And then The Rock does his pose on the corners. And then he walks back up the ramp. And as he's walking to the back, the Usos music hits because they're coming out for the opening match. And they're here, I guess, cousins, because they're Roman's cousins and he's Rock's cousin, so yeah. And they come out and they have a tense stare down. The Rock has a tense stare down with members of his family in Jacob Fatu and the Usos. Just in case I feel like going back to that, I can plant the seeds to it here. 80-rated opening match is the ladder match for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. The Usos, Death from Above, the Mysterios, and the Street Profits. And it goes for 18-23. And yeah, 80 is a pretty sick rating for this. So I don't really know what the whole match would be. We'd definitely get a Montez Ford frog splash off a ladder onto like Lince Dorado, I guess. But then the finish will have Rey Mysterio and Jey Uso on one ladder, Jimmy Uso and Dominik on the other ladder. Like, they're both in the middle of the ring. And then they're fighting for the belts. They try and knock each other off. When Dominik and Jimmy, they tip over the ladder with Rey and Jey on it, and they go tumbling to the outside into the arms of Jacob Fatu. So they're all taken out by the falling men. So it's just Jey Uso, or no, Jimmy and Dominik on top of the ladder. And Dominik, he's trying not to disappoint his dad. He's trying to fight on and hold on. And he takes the titles and he knocks Jimmy Uso down. And he retrieves the championships for him and his father. And in 1823, the Mysterios, Dominik and Rey become the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I didn't want to do the Dominik comes up short yet again, because I feel like it's time for him to finally show that he can hang. And he's got the dub and he's won the Tag Team Championships for him and his father. 61 for Dawkins, 56 for Dominik. Wait, what the fuck? Dominik and... Oh, I've gone down, okay. I was going to say, 61 for Ford, 61 for Dawkins, 56 for Dominik, 82 for Rey, 61 for Lince, 72 for Grand Metalik, and 73 for both Usos. Not too shabby, actually. 80 is pretty good for that. But the new Tag Team Champions, Rey and Dominik Mysterio. We then get a recap of Night 1. And then after that we cut to Dakota, who's looking kind of disheveled after last night, and she knocks on Raquel's locker room door. And of course, out comes Angel Garza, and he's like, "Can we help you?" And she's like, "Let me just talk to Raquel, please." And he's like, "Okay, I don't know what she's going to really say to you." And then, of course, Raquel steps out, and she's like, "What? I've got nothing to say to you." She's like, Come on, Raquel. We're still best friends, right? There was a misunderstanding. You know, me and you, buddy." And Raquel's like, "No, Dakota, you didn't need me last night to beat Bayley. You just wanted me there to do your dirty work after the fact. And I certainly don't need you. So I'm tired of you treating me like garbage, and I'm going to be with a man who actually treats me right. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a battle royal to win." And she slams the door in Dakota's face, and she's looking all upset. Jesus! In an 82, the joint best match across Mania so far, both nights, with Buddy Murphy and Seth Rollins and Damian Priest and Johnny Gargano, is a 14 minutes 24 seconds match between Charlotte Flair and Liv Morgan. The story being, of course, Liv got screwed out of the tournament by Charlotte, and she wanted to get back in, and Charlotte was like, "No, I'm going to win." And then Liv screwed her out, and of course, you don't mess with Charlotte and her title matches. So we're one-on-one here at WrestleMania, Liv and Charlotte, to prove that Liv can hang with the big girls. And that is pretty much the story we tell throughout the whole thing. Liv comes close. She hits the Oblivion on Charlotte, but Charlotte kicks out. We'd probably even have Liv kick out a natural selection. And then Charlotte's getting all pissed off at Liv. She locks in the figure 8. And Liv tries to fight it off, but it's just too much. And she comes up just short here tonight. Charlotte defeats Liv in 14-24 with the figure 8 in an 82. 79 for Charlotte and a 61 for Liv Morgan. I do need to peel back the curtain on this match a little bit, because this match wasn't the original plan, and I'll explain the whole thing. Right. So originally, I was going to do Charlotte. There was a story, I planned on doing Charlotte and Asuka, maybe for the title, and it would have involved Kyrie turning on Io and then them fighting non-title. I decided against that. I decided that I was doing too many of those sort of matches where they turn on each other this close to Mania. So Kyrie and Io, they're not going to turn on each other. They're friends forever. And then Charlotte offered to put over Liv in the game. She came to me and she was like, "Liv Morgan has a promising future. I will lose to her just once though, woo." Because of course she's Charlotte. She has a protective image. But then me being dumb, when I had Liv and Asuka pin Lacey Evans in that tag match against Lacey and Charlotte, that counted towards the goal of putting Liv over, which I was saving for Mania. So I sort of done goofed. So Charlotte was going to moan like fuck to lose this match now, because she's like, "Well, I already put Liv over, woo." And then she smiled at me because she knew she was being a fucking bitch, and, well, I guess I have to win. So she's politicked her way to victory here tonight. And poor Liv came up just short, but still a good showing from her. So it's fine. She gets a 61 and a 79 for Charlotte. But after that, Miz comes back out of his mic. He's like, no. The Rock, he doesn't get away with that. This is my night. My night, my special WrestleMania. How dare The Rock come out here and do that? And Jay Flo came out on the stage and they're laughing at The Miz in his pain. He's like, "Yo, very funny girls, you got one up on us. Well, trust me, that's never happening again. You can't keep bringing out all these old legends, all these Hall of Famers to try and take us down." Then Bret Hart's music hits and he strolls to the ring. And he locks Miz in the sharpshooter. While Jomo has to pull him to... Miz taps in the sharpshooter, but Jomo has to pull him to safety at ringside, and Miz again is embarrassed by a Hall of Fame legend. And yeah, J Flo once again have conceptualized a WWE Hall of Famer showing up here tonight by the shirts that they're wearing. After that, though, we get the entrances of the generic entrances for the mass entrance for the Women's Battle Royal. And then certain people do get their own special entrance. Those are the women you see on your screen. Shayna Baszler comes out first. She just does her normal entrance. She doesn't really do anything special. Asuka has her entrance. Alexa, Shotzi and Emma come out together on some sort of big tank. And some special WrestleMania tank with fireworks and pyro and all sorts. Then Rhea Ripley comes out. And everyone's like, oh shit, it's Rhea Ripley. But then there's only 39 women in the ring, and Dakota comes out. She's like, no. Listen, I'm going to be in this match. I know I wrestled last night, but me and Raquel, we've got to work together. We're going to win this. Me and you, girlie. And Raquel's looking at her like, oh my god, fuck you. Because Dakota has weaseled her way into this match, and she's going to try and work with Raquel to win it. Huh. 72 for this. Okay. So all of these women you now see on screen have now had a 72 rated match at WrestleMania. Those women are Aaliyah James, Alexa Bliss, Aaliyah, Asuka, Billie Kay, Brandi Lauren, Candy Floss, Carmella, Chelsea Green, Cora Jade, Dakota, Dana Brooke, Danny Jordan, Ember Moon, Gigi Dolan, Julia, Indy Hartwell, Casey Catanzaro, Kairi Sane, Kaylee Ray, Kaden Carter, Kylie Ray, Lacey Evans, Lana, Mandy Rose, Mercedes Martinez, Mickie James, Naomi, Nikki Cross, Peyton Royce, Raquel Gonzalez, Rhea Ripley, Sari, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi Blackheart, Tegan Nox, Toni Storm, Xia Brookside, Yuki Kamifuku, and Zoe Stark. A lot of NXT call-ups because I wanted to also make this 40 women. And yeah, and no, it wasn't just because I'd already made the 40-person template and didn't want to make a new one. It's just mainly because of that. Anyway, the bell rings, and Dakota and Raquel are still next to each other, and Raquel's patting her on the shoulder like, come on then. Me and you, we're going to win this. Let's do this. But of course, Raquel is having none of it. She grabs Dakota and tosses her over. So Dakota was actually the first elimination of the match. Like I said yesterday, I don't mind people that aren't... The people that you'd expect to be like towards the back end being eliminated first. I think the first elimination is a lot more memorable, and it being Dakota and Raquel here will make it more memorable that she went first and solidified that breakup. So it's fine. I'd be more concerned if I was going to go second, because then you know you're the actual worst of the worst. As evidenced when silly old Lana decides to try and jump Raquel from behind. And Raquel's like, what the fuck you doing, bitch? And just tosses her over. So Lana, second out. Next, we have Danny Jordan is eliminated by Asuka. Then we have Yuki eliminated by Kylie Ray. Candy Floss eliminated by Kaylee Ray. Then Kairi Sane eliminates Kaden Carter. Lacey Evans and the Iconics will get it, and both members of the Iconics eliminate Lacey. And then they do the Iconics pose, and Rhea is like, no, I don't think so, and just eliminates both members of the Iconics. And then, just for fun, she runs across the ring, clotheslines, and eliminates both members of the Robert Stone brand, Aaliyah and Brandi, both out. Then, Dana Brooke is eliminated by Shayna Baszler. Ember Moon then eliminates Indy Hartwell to go back to that sort of feud. Toni Storm then gets rid of Xia Brookside. And Chelsea Green is then eliminated by Mercedes Martinez. Then we get a big girl face-off between Rhea Ripley and Mercedes Martinez, which has probably happened in NXT without me knowing, because I don't book NXT. But for the first time in the series, these two face-off, and it ends with Rhea eliminating Mercedes. Sari and Kylie Ray then sort of have a fun exchange, but Sari then gets dumped by Kylie Ray. Casey Catanzaro would do some sort of weird, cool survival thing, but then Alexa would just knock her off the apron when she got back onto the apron, and then be like, haha, bitch. So Casey's gone. Then Cora Jade is eliminated by Julia. Mandy Rose is dumped out by Asuka. Aaliyah James is eliminated by Shayna. Nikki Cross is eliminated by Ember Moon, which is sort of like, hey, remember when I brought you back? Yeah, we had a fun time, but every woman for herself, innit? Then Tegan Nox eliminates Carmella. Mickie James eliminates Zoe Stark. Shayna Baszler eliminates Julia. And Rhea eliminates Mickie James. Naomi, who you probably haven't seen. I need to talk about her, actually. She probably haven't seen her on Raw in a while. I'll get to her like after the end of the match. So that's what I want to say about her. She gets eliminated by Gigi Dolan, who is then quickly dumped out by Kairi. Then Toni Storm eliminates Tegan Nox. Kyrie's eliminated by Asuka. Again, a sort of a throwback to the fact that they don't get along anymore. Then Toni Storm eliminates Kylie Ray, one Mae Young Classic winner to another. Then Raquel Gonzalez eliminates Ember Moon. Shotzi Blackheart eliminates Kaylee Ray. And then also Alexa Bliss. And then we have the final 6, which are the 6 you see. And then the next elimination, Shotzi is eliminated by Shayna Baszler. No, sorry. I'm ahead of myself. Toni Storm's eliminated next by Asuka. Then Shotzi by Shayna Baszler as a revenge for the elimination thing they've got going on. So they're sort of 2 for 2. Shotzi eliminated Shayna in My Rumble and in that original Battle Royal in NXT. And then in real life, the Battle Royal or the Royal Rumble 2020, Shayna eliminated Shotzi, and she's on it here tonight. So they're sort of 2 for 2. It's a sort of weird thing they've got going on. Then the final 4 are Rhea Ripley, Raquel Gonzalez, Shayna Baszler, and Asuka. And it's 4 tough bitches. Shayna Baszler's the next out. She gets eliminated by Raquel. And then Asuka is eliminated by Rhea Ripley. So the final 2 women, Raquel Gonzalez and Rhea Ripley. 2 best friends together here on night 2 of WrestleMania in this Battle Royal. Raquel, what a star-making performance she's had tonight and yesterday. But in the end, she can't quite come up. She comes up just short, and Rhea Ripley dumps her out to become the Women's Battle Royal Champion 2021. Yeah, 72 is pretty sick, for all, especially considering who's in it. I did fill it pretty much mainly with like NXT people, considering I don't have as many women as I do men. That includes like Dana Brooke and Naomi, who I said I was going to go. Yeah, like the way I do my roster is, if I feel like I don't really have anything with people, I will cycle people in and out. And so Naomi is actually in having the run of her life in NXT right now. Hence why I kept her in it for so long. She's actually got sent her back down to NXT. I had nothing for her. And she's actually doing pretty well down there. So when she comes back up, she'll be like pre-established. The same way that Bo went down to NXT and then he was allowed to come back up to Raw. Because I sent him down to NXT as well, and he sort of had another second run down there. But yeah, that's what Naomi's up to right now. And yeah, here's the Battle Royal. Finalised, Rhea winning, Raquel, Shayna, Asuka, final 4. Raquel got the most eliminations, and the final elimination, so what a star-making performance she had. But Rhea Ripley is the champion. She then poses with her her trophy for an 81. And the nightmare has maybe arrived in WWE. 78, which apparently they don't click at all, so this could have been even better. Could have been an 82, because let's face it, we're not getting anything higher than that. Shinsuke and Gable go 17 minutes 45 seconds. I knew they'd be able to just smash it if I trusted them. And Gable he's a bit miffed because he got pinned yesterday, so he's already taken 1 loss tonight or at this event, and he vows that the greatest wrestler here on SmackDown is not going to take 2 losses in a row, and he's going to out-wrestle Shinsuke Nakamura like he's out-wrestled everyone else except for Sami Zayn, who rolled him up yesterday. And in the end, he is nailed in the jaw of a Kinshasa and pinned 1, 2, 3, and we have a new United States champion. Nakamura, fresh off a super cool violin-based WrestleMania entrance, because he's back as a babyface and he's back as the United States champion. 67 for Shinsuke and a 71 for Chad Gable. Pretty sick, yeah. 78 for a match that doesn't click. I'll take that any day of the week. Better than the WrestleMania main event of night 1. But The Miz isn't done. The Miz comes out again. And he says, no. Is this mic on? Okay, right. So here's the thing. I see what's happening here. These little girls, these Joshis, they think they've once spun up me and John. Their whole existence is to make sure we don't ruin their shows. And I applaud them, because I wish I'd had the hindsight to do that on my show. And again, JF would just walk out on stage and they laugh at the Miz in the ring, And they walk to the back, and out comes Shawn Michaels. He lays super kicks to Miz and Morrison, and then he gets his time to bask in the WrestleMania crowd once more, just like Bret Hart and The Rock did. And Miz and Morrison with egg on their face yet again. Holy shit! We broke 82! In an 83 rated match. This triple threat match here. 19 minutes and 9 seconds it goes for something that Eve said would be a career-changing reward on the line. Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Cesaro. They've sort of been feuding, but they deep down they know they're all still friends. Like, they're just the lads having a scrap, innit? But I feel like this being a triple threat match with these participants in it made it kind of obvious that one of the three would be getting pinned here. No offense to him. And to protect one of them from not having to take the fall so the other guy can win. But I don't think it's the way around that most people will think it is. Because Drew McIntyre pinned Sheamus, 1, 2, 3 with a Claymore, to win the special reward. I do think, like, Cesaro maybe could have won it, but with what I have planned for Season 3, it made most sense to give it to Drew. Drew never got his title back in my world. He has been a main eventer since he lost it, but I wanted to give him something here, and I didn't want Cesaro to take the fall, so yeah, he didn't. And Sheamus took the fall here. Triple threat, 83 for Cesaro, 87 for Drew, and a 77 for Sheamus. 83, pretty sick match. Then Eve comes out, and she's not going to wait till Monday night. She's going to tell Drew that she sort of misled him. Because technically it's in fact two rewards he's getting. Number one is that he's now Raw's franchise player. And this makes him, by proxy, I guess, pick number 0 in the WWE draft. So he'll be staying on Raw. He's out of the draft pool. He's got a future cemented on Monday Night Raw. And number 2 is that as Eve and as the GM, she's working with Steph and Triple H. And the next year is in Drew's hands because she's going to grant him 3 wishes of his choice that he can cash in for whatever he wants for the next 12 months. The only downside is that he can't fire anybody. Like, he can't use it to fire Brock Lesnar if he's feuding with him. And he can't just reward himself with a world title match. He can book himself in a match, a number one contenders match, but he can't just give himself a world title match. So those are his 2 downsides. He can't fire people he hates, and he can't give himself a world title match for nothing, but anything else is on the table. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'll take that. That's pretty sick. Thanks, Eve. And then he celebrates in front of crowds like he couldn't last year. Drew McIntyre, big fat dub, boss man. Hype video. Kevin Owens and Edge for this feud. When did it really start? Did they team before the Rumble? I can't remember. They might have done, but I know it really kicked off in the Rumble. And then the night after the Rumble, they teamed up to get in the Chamber. Then it all came to a head the night after the Chamber when they lost the tag title match. And Ever Rise talked Kevin Owens into turning on Edge. Christian came back. He nearly got power on the apron until Edge returned. And yeah, here we are. Owens and Edge, 1-on-1 WrestleMania. 81. Kevin Owens damaged his shoulder, but I'm not sure if that will keep him out for long. And if it does, his arc is now wrapped up, so it's not the end of the world, actually. I do have, obviously I do have plans for him in Season 3, but if he does have an injury, I can easily pivot them. But I doubt a damaged shoulder will keep him out for too long, if at all. But this match goes 17:39 because the game is telling me Edge has no stamina. Despite the fact that in real life, he wrestled for like half an hour in the Rumble when he came back, 40 minutes at Mania in that Last Man Standing match, another 40 minutes in the greatest wrestling match ever. He literally went from number 1 to win the Rumble this year. But hey ho, he's got no stamina. And yeah, Owens and Edge are going at it. And it looks like Edge is going to go for the spear in the corner. He's got Owens beat whenever eyes run out. And they distract Edge at ringside. They don't get involved physically. Maybe the referee will take a bump at some point and they get involved. Yeah, actually they would, to be fair. So then Christian can come running out. And he can make the save for his best friend. He hits a spear on Chase Parker, who feeds him. And then Matt Martell can get speared by Edge. Ever-Rise are taken down. Then Kevin Owens gets up. He knocks Christian down. And he shouts at Edge like, this is where friends will get you. They get you nowhere. He throws Edge against the ropes, going for the pop-up powerbomb, but then when he picks him up for the powerbomb, Edge leapfrogs him, bounces himself off the rope, and then when Owens turns around, he gets speared. 1, 2, 3, Edge defeats Kevin Owens here at WrestleMania 1739. 91 for Edge and a 90 for Kevin. So that's pretty sick. But apparently Edge was not got enough stamina, and I guess maybe the injury threw the match off. But I'm not too annoyed. It's fine. Thank you, Undertaker. After the match, though, we're getting a 5-second pose from Edge and Christian at WrestleMania. Because, fuck yeah, that would be cool. Edge and Christian celebrate Edge's victory here tonight, for the benefit of those of Flash Photography. Miz! Oh, Miz, he's back. He hasn't learned his lesson. He goes, no. This is not how my night's going to go. I am a Hollywood A-list megastar. You're not going to embarrass me, J-Flo. You get your ass back out here, right now. And of course they do. But after they come out comes the Hulkster brother. And he hobbles his way to the ring. And I don't know how physical this old fuck can get, but I guess he can throw Miz and Morrison out of the ring. I don't even know if he can lift his leg up that high, the old fart. But I don't even want to have him here. But I feel like if I'm doing this gimmick where they're all bringing out a legend, I feel like one of them needs to be this guy. And I guess he can throw Miz and Morrison out of the ring, and then he can pose for like 5 minutes and say brother about 1 million times and go, what you gonna do when Hulkamania and the J-Flow run wild on you? Jesus! Okay. So I was a bit iffy on how this match was going to do, because they are like 2 of the most popular women on Raw apart from Charlotte, but they're still like high 60, which isn't that high. They got a 79. They did better than the main event of Sasha and Bianca, which is interesting. Io defends against Sonya, and there's not really much of a story here. Sonya won a tournament, and she's looking to just take away Io's title, and it's just a fight really between these two. I can imagine the sort of match they'd have, because one's a high flyer-ish, but she can also do the fighting, and Sonya's the fighter, and she try and ground Io with like the submissions and shit, which is cool. And then Sonya would hit one of whatever her finisher is. I don't know what Sonya actually would pin someone with, but I guess a kick of some kind. A kick, 1-2, Io kicks out, and Sonya's getting visibly frustrated, and she pulls the top turnbuckle pad off, and then she goes to ram Io's face in it, but of course is reversed, and the fight continues. And Io would eventually get on the offense. She'd hit a springboard dropkick, but Sonya would pluck her out of the air. She comes flying through with her dropkick, grab her ankle, and she'd lock in an ankle lock on Io. And Io would be like writhing around in pain trying to reach the ropes, but Sonya would do the thing where she pulls him in the middle, away from the ropes, but they're facing towards the turnbuckle that Sonya exposed. And then Io, the crafty devil she is, we're going to steal a spot from one of the great WrestleMania matches. Io channels out in Eddie Guerrero. She slips out of the boot, and Sonya goes crashing into the top rope with the exposed turnbuckle. She smashes her head against it. Io then climbs to the top rope, hits the moonsault, and gets the 1-2-3. and retains the Raw Women's Championship in 14-19. 79 for Io Shirai and a 66 for Sonya, and Season 3 will continue with the Genius of the Sky at the helm of Raw's women's division. Backstage, Eve's with Pierce this time because she actually knows who her drafty rival is going to be. And she's like, well, there you have it, Drew McIntyre, franchise player for Raw, so he's staying with us. Unlucky, I know he'd have been a great get for you, but you can't win them all, Pierce. And he's like, dang, he was pretty high on my list, but I've got some other tricks up my sleeve, Eve. You're never going to see it coming. And it's certainly going to be interesting tomorrow night and Friday night to see what the landscape of the WWE looks like for the next year. And he's like, yeah, I agree. Now remember, just basically saying wink wink, remember draft days tomorrow. Hype video. Unsanctioned match. Triple H and Mustafa Ali. What has quickly become my favourite story in the save. Because obviously I really love the build for the church one. But that was the whole Church of Rollins story and not a specific feud. But this is quickly becoming my favourite feud right now. And it all comes to a head, unsanctioned. If Triple H wins, then the message will stop and they will leave WWE. But if Mustafa Ali wins, I guess they still leave WWE, but they leave with bragging rights, knowing that they shocked and corrupted the system. Don't want to say shocked the system because there are other factions in this company that may be needing that tagline soon. But I guess, yeah, just send shockwaves up through the WWE universe. 80. Unsanctioned match goes 17-18 because it's a Triple H WrestleMania match. If anything, it should have gone longer than that. Just smoke and mirrors, really. Basically, your standard Triple H WrestleMania match. Weapons, slow. No offense to Triple H, because I do actually like most of his matches. But yeah, that is what it is. But you've got the added element of it being unsanctioned, so like, definitely at some point the ring mat would get pulled up with the wood exposed, so Dabba-Kato can hit like a spine buster on him onto the wood. Triple H can pedigree Kushida onto the exposed ring and stuff like that. But in the end, a table is brought into play, and Dabba-Kato big choke slam of Triple H through the announce table, not the announce table, just the regular table in the ring, onto the exposed part of the ring. And of course, with it being unsanctioned, all 4 members of the message can stop or can get involved without getting disqualified. There would be road agents and people from the back that were trying to help Triple H because, of course, he's the owner of the company. But they'd get laid out as well. And then Ali hits the 054 onto him while he's still laid on the exposed part of the ring, and he gets the 1-2-3 to defeat Triple H in a one-on-one unsanctioned match in 17 minutes and 18 seconds. An 83 for Triple H and an 87 for Mustafa Ali gets an 80 overall, which is good. I know it looked bad considering the ratings, but somebody here with a history of not playing ball decided that as the owner of WWE that he was going to try and fucking go over here and blocked the decision to have Ali win. And he was like, that doesn't work for me, Oak. So he had to be kept strong and protected. So that in mind, an 80 is pretty fucking good. But he did eventually. I was terrified that Trips was going to trips, and even if I had him protected and kept strong, he was going to moan and block it because he has creative control because he's the owner. I thought I was going to have to come on here and have him win, and I was terrified, but now we got there in the end. J-Flo came out and announced the attendance for WrestleMania Night 2, and they're going to perform afterwards. So they sing their song all about WrestleMania. They maybe even sing, oh, whoa, WrestleMania. So basically we're filling time so that we can get all the ringside area mended up. Then the Miz and Morrison come out and say, awful performance, just awful, right. He snatches the mic and he goes, who wants to hear me and John's new song? Boo. I'm like, well, too bad, because these girls, they didn't give you everything you wanted, look. They brought you The Rock, they brought you Bret Hart, they brought you Shawn Michaels, they brought you Hulk Hogan, but look at Mackie here, Steve Austin 316, said I just whipped your ass. No, he didn't, because he's not here tonight. They've let you down. You were expecting Stone Cold to come out here and stun the Miz. Well, too bad. And Miz walks to the ring, of course, and J Flow follow him, so they now in the ring. And then Stone Cold's music hits, the glass shatters, and no one comes out. And Miz laughs, John Morrison laughs, like, see, look at you. You all fell for it. I had that on cue. You fell under the palm of my hand. And now, yeah, I delivered the greatest moment of the night just by looking at the shocked look on your face when you realised your beloved hero wasn't going to be here. Then the glass shatters again. And Miz like, no, audio guy. Only once. Only one time. But out comes Stone Cold on his four-wheeler. And he is here. He gets into the ring. And he stuns the Miz. He stuns John Morrison. And then he grabs a beer. He tosses members of J-Flow beers. Of course, Mackie is the first to take a beer. She'd probably take one out of Stone Cold's hand. Because she's Mackie. That's what she'd do. And then he'd have two. He'd toss one to another J-Flow member. But that J-Flow member doesn't drink. So Mackie steals it from her as well. And then when Stone Cold clangs his 2 cans of beers together and he chugs them, Mackie would do the same and she'd be like, ah. And it's a funny segment. And Mackie gets to drink beer with Stone Cold as the Miz lays in the ring. A ring-soaked mat as Stone Cold leaves on his four-wheeler, J-Flow leave, and the Miz is still laid out. Because a lot of people may have forgotten something about the Miz. He's a champion right now. But not for long, because R-Truth runs out from the back of a referee and just covers the Miz's down body. 1, 2, 3. R-Truth gets his baby back for the 57th time. Here at the grandest stage of them all, thanks to Stone Cold Steve Austin and a bunch of other legends. To end that funny running gag. Hype video for the Firefly Funhouse match. Aleister Black, Bray Wyatt. Feud began at the Royal Rumble when Aleister eliminated Funhouse Bray in like 10 seconds. Then Aleister eliminated Eater of Worlds Bray in like a minute. Then The Fiend eliminated Aleister Black despite not being in the match. And that leads us to tonight, where they've been playing mind games with each other. Bray Wyatt kidnapped Susie and has like forced her to enjoy her time in the Funhouse. And Aleister, Dexter and Killian trying to get her back. So they're coming to the Funhouse for a fight. 76. Bleh. Lack of psychology, it looks like, was the main thing. Yeah. So this isn't like the John Cena Firefly Funhouse match. This is like just we start with Aleister, Killian and Dexter walking into the Funhouse. And then when they go through the door, like John Cena did in the match where he went to the spooky area, they open the door and they are transported to like the dark area with the ring in. But the Fiend is in there. And they actually get a fight. Like an actual choreographed fight scene. Instead of like the whole taking Aleister through his career thing, because he's Aleister Black, he hasn't really done much. There would be one thing of him, like, you know, in like Spider-Man Far From Home when he's having the weird illusions and then the Iron Man body comes out from the grave. Spoilers, I'm sorry. But he'd do that, like you'd see the Undertaker's grave where he buried him in the Boneyard match. Then like a zombie version of the Undertaker would come out and like chokeslam Dexter Lumis and Killian Dane, taking them out. That's just a funny thing I think would probably fit in here. Then the fight continues when they slam through the Funhouse door. And then Aleister looks up and he sees tied and gagged to a chair, Susie. Or at least what he thinks is Susie, because she's wearing like the Susie clothes, but her face is covered. And people can probably tell where this is going from just that description. But he's like, I found you. Come on, let's go back. But then when he takes the mask covering off, or whatever's covering her face up, it kind of is Susie, but it's not the Susie he knows because it's the zombie Su Yung looking Susie. And Aleister gets red mist in the face. And the Fiend puts him down with a mandible claw, 1, 2, 3. to win the Firefly Funhouse match in 13 minutes and 45 seconds. 90 rating for Aleister Black and 88 rating for The Fiend. Industry leader production values added to the cinematic style match. Could have used somebody with better psychology. And then The Fiend is celebrating. He's laughing as the camera just zooms in on his face. And then Susie walks into frame. But she's not in the Susie clothes anymore. She's in full Su Yung attire. And her and The Fiend just look at each other, then look at the camera as the lights flicker off. It is time, ladies and gentlemen. WrestleMania Night 2's main event. The biggest match in WWE history. John Cena, 3-time Royal Rumble winner. He now holds that record with Stone Cold. He already holds the record of tied World Championships with Ric Flair. He has a chance to break it here tonight, in what could possibly be his last ever attempt to do so. Going against a very familiar foe. A quite ironic foe that stands in his path, that being WWE Champion Randy Orton. John Cena, who's a very different man than the John Cena we know. He's become a bit more manipulative and a bit more of a prick. Whereas Randy Orton is still Randy Orton, he's still a dickhead, but we love him. And he's fighting for his right to stop his old rival from breaking that record, especially this new persona of his rival, as well as create his first true, real WrestleMania moment. I do realise, since I've started this feud, that when I think of Randy on WrestleMania moments, my main thing I think of is the Seth Rollins RKO, but that doesn't really count, come on. But anyway, I was sick to fucking death of the 82 shit, so I've actually gone on a risk, and I've made this once in a lifetime as the match aim, hoping it will get us into the 90s. And that could completely backfire. I'm aware of the cruel irony that this match is being dubbed once in a lifetime by the game, but they've never wrestled in the game, so it should technically count. Let's see if I'm going to be kicking myself for doing that, or if it will pay off. First one. Because both these men got a fucking 100, and the match got a 73. Lack of selling, lack of psychology. They have pretty good chemistry, but oh well. I'm sure the show won't be hindered too much by this terrible main event. Actually, does kind of make sense because I am aware this isn't the most exciting main event in 2021, but I feel like the story was right for it. So I'm actually fine with it because I feel like it's kind of realistic. Cena and Orton, one final time main event, well, first ever time one-on-one at WrestleMania, and they go at it for 23 minutes and 21 seconds. John Cena would hit the AA, kick out, of course, RKO, kick out, of course, because these two just know each other so well. And John Cena would go for the 5-knuckle shuffle. He'd hit the 5-knuckle shuffle. He'd call Orton up to his feet, get him on his shoulders. Randy would slip down the backbreaker, stuff like that. The old tried and true Cena and Orton spots. Then John Cena's getting visibly frustrated as the match goes on, and he's like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna try something new." He goes for some sort of diving top rope shoulder block. Randy Orton catches him in midair of an RKO. And he has John Cena beat. But that isn't enough for Randy. He's going to put Cena down for good. He backs into the corner and he orders for a punt. Orton charges at him, but John Cena scoops him out as he runs towards him for a punt. He nails the AA. He rolls through and he hits like the thing where he hits two AAs at once. Orton's down. 1, 2, kick out. Randy Orton kicks out, and John Cena can't believe his eyes. And he's like, "You fucker. I should have known this because, of course, these two know each other so well. That is the story we're playing here. Is that an RKO can't put Cena down and the AA can't put Randy Orton down because they've just faced each other so many times. And this match means so much to both of them because it's their first meeting one-on-one. Main event of WrestleMania with high stakes both ends. And Cena's like, "You piece of shit." And the referee gets in John Cena's face like, "What are you doing, John?" Referee gets shoved to the side and John Cena hoofs Randy Orton in the testicles. But he doesn't flinch. And Cena's like, "What?" And Randy Orton, he's come prepared. He's a smart babyface. He pulls a cup out of his trunks. He's like, "You fucker." RKO. John Cena wasn't seeing that one coming. Backs into the corner. This time, boot clean clocks John Cena's skull in with a punt. And of course, 1, 2, 3. Randall Keefe keeps a hold of his WWE Championship, denying his great foe the chance to smash that record, creating his first true WrestleMania moment. 100 for both men, 73 for the match, lack of psychology, lack of selling, blah blah blah. Not going to be too upset because I think the special set and the celebrity and all that will be enough to make the show get like an 80 odd. But yeah, remind me to never do that again. 83. Randy Orton just poses, pyro goes off as he does his pose in the corner with the WWE Championship. This is his WrestleMania moment. John Cena defeated, and he was taught a lesson here tonight. That cheaters, they don't always win. And Season 3 will continue in the age of Orton. Yeah, 84, that's fine. Bleh. I personally thought the show was better than Night 1. The game disagreed, which is why I always say what matters more than what the game has to say is what you thought of the show. Again, this show more than ever, I've said now more than ever, about 1 million times though over the last week I feel, but this show here, I really mean now more than ever because this is the culmination of everything for this season. So that's that. There's obviously going to be a State of the Universe video up next, which I'll probably record either later on today or tomorrow, or Sunday, or sometime soon, basically. But I do not know how long Raw is going to take to be out because it's a new season, it's a new everything, fresh new start, and we're finally at this point. I can't believe that we're here, and honest to God, I could end this whole thing right now and feel accomplished with myself. Because I feel like I've told some decent stories over the last year. I've got a year of what I'd have booked Raw and SmackDown under my belt. And I think that it's nice to have finally got to the year mark. And it's a nice milestone to hit. So I could feasibly end it here and be happy with it. But that's not what any of you want. So we will be back. I don't know when, of course. State of the Universe shouldn't be too long. It might even be recorded later on today if I've got the time. Obviously I'll do a video for the Slammy Award winners. The goals and shit obviously will go over in the State of the Universe video. So that's fine. Another video I do plan to do in the meantime before Raw comes out, depending on how long that takes, is I have made a tier list of all of my pay-per-views, and I want to sort of rank how much I enjoyed, what I feel the end result of all my pay-per-views was. So that's something I'm going to work on doing as well. It's just some filler stuff in the downtime. Yeah, Slammy Awards, I'm going to go over them. I need to get admin stuff for the draft all sorted out and then start writing in stuff for the next year. I actually already do have an idea of what I want my WrestleMania main events to be next year, so yeah, that's something. I'm rambling. So basically, all I have to say now is, without sounding too sappy, I do thank you all for even giving this the time of day. I but always under the assumption that if I was to sit here and play a stupid wrestling game where it's basically just a bunch of numbers and pictures, ain't even really a game. Like, I'd be lucky if 2 people watched it, and that would be me and maybe one of my friends. But 253 is the current number I'm at after this, as this goes up. And yeah, I think my efforts of editing do make it more enjoyable, because my main goal, my main mindset is, I have said to this like 2 people in like Discord that have been like trying to start stuff, is try and create something that you yourself would want to watch and just be yourself, and people will come. And I feel like obviously 253 in the grand scheme of things is fuck all, but it's a nice little safe haven for me to know that I'm doing something right. But yeah, I believe that's everything. Again, thank you all so much for watching any of these, even if this is the only video you've watched. Thank you for watching it. And Season 3, Raw, will be the next actual episode, because State of the Universe will be number 121, I believe. And then 122 will be Raw. But with that, Los Angeles, California, 58,258 people. Thank you for coming for 2 nights of WrestleMania 37. We'll see you tomorrow night for night 1 of the WWE draft. Now more than ever, I hope to see you then.